us here responding to any comments we had, so we have to work both ways. I'm sure everybody clear on that. You have to speak out to leave the room. You have to recall here and go to where we have everything said. That's good, Mr. Williams. And for the record, basically, I want to make it clear because it appeared Mrs. Fawkes believed that the board works for her. I told Mrs. Fawkes a week ago you need to have an attorney to represent the position since we are now tangled between according to the law that the attorney general advises and represents the board and her in any controversy, whereas she wasn't in court and I thought she needed to have an attorney and only went in court that day. I don't see her having an attorney representing the board position most as well because basically we had a situation where the Attorney General was representing the governor's position along with the attorney's position, and the board didn't have no representation because no time Mrs. Fawkes told us or had a meeting with us about what she was trying to do. It was the attorney who's supposed to by law represent the board. So we didn't have no consult. Again, you might speak, everybody went down to speak as long as they want today. I also noted too that the attorney Roman made it clear to the judge that she saw St. Thomas with the subpoenas and she haven't gotten it to St. Croix. Up to now, Mrs. Fawkes haven't shown or given any document. I don't know if any member had gotten it, but I haven't received any. Secondly, I instructed Mrs. Fawkes, and we have this meeting being called because I came here and I think we made it clear to Mrs. Fawkes if Mrs. Dr. Coverdale was a limit in walking to the St. Thomas district, then she remains there and not to make their appearance in here to interfere or supervise anybody who works in St. Croix. I came here, and it was Friday or Thursday, and when I went back there, I meet Dr. Coverdale to the computer, changing around documentation. I haven't actually, I just said good morning. When I checked, you were there changing names and numbers and language in the ballot. I don't know, I tried to get Ms. Fawkes here. She gave me when she's working for the system. So now she changed her position from the system and the vote to the system again. But that's how she wanted to back it again. But I told her we need her here to explain to all of us how we proceeding and how she must understand that under the version of code, we haven't changed it that far, that she works for the board, and anything she's doing under the supervision of the board and directing the board, we need to have some policy. I had Mr. Carroll over the weekend. I told him to make a reservation for Mrs. Fawkes to be here this afternoon so we can start the meeting. And he did make a reservation for to reach St. Thomas 1640, which is military time, and that means 4:30. I just received a copy this afternoon that came here. So Mrs. Fawkes is telling us, for me really, that she have a St. Thomas meeting in St. Thomas site here. I'm not satisfied with that excuse. Because the meeting, we need to know what kind of meeting Mrs. Fawkes who works for us having St. Thomas. We have a situation right here we have to address as it relates to two court orders. One is mandatory and one has a temporary position. And when I came here, I noticed that she had moved and inserted Mrs. Hansen's name in the station number 10. While we are waiting in this case, we don't have a hearing, we didn't have one, we didn't have representation for the board, or even a hearing in the merits of the case to take in evidence while we're waiting on Judge Lois to make the final decision hearing. Before that, the same day before, I think the Supreme Court struck down the request from the Attorney General for a hearing on some issue that they claimed that they had missed out. The Supreme Court told them that is not the case and denied that. So we're here right now again in a situation where we have a supervisory election. For some reason, she feels that she can do what she wants. And in writing and in questioning, she's not here. So we can't see that Mrs. Whitaker is responsible and ready to answer the question that any one of us might have. So I don't know how we're going to move from here to there. If Mrs. Whitaker can answer the question, Mrs. Fawkes should be here to answer. And I think we need to make it very clear again. To make Mrs. Fawkes the deputy and Mr. Terrell understand that they work for the board, not for Mrs. Fawkes. Especially this board that I'm here, I don't work for the supervisor's election, not the deputies running to us. So I need to get very clear because the code is clear who the supervisor, he or she, respectfully represent when they have the authority to do something. Since we have a situation where we're going back and forth over a number and a name on the ballot, I think the right thing for us to legally Mrs. Fawkes to tell us, or meet with the board before she made the decision and tell us what she was going to do. So if she hasn't done that, I don't know when Mrs. Fawkes and she's not here. So I don't know, hold on please. I don't know if Mrs. Whitaker received any information from Mrs. Fawkes, what kind of meetings she had in St. Thomas that she can be here. Could you tell us that, please?
Good evening. For the record, I am not aware of where she is right now, and I'm not even aware of this meeting in St. Thomas. So, and as far as information about the ballot, well, Mr. Alexander and I have the same amount of information because we both received the same email, and that's the extent I know about the actual. Now it's called the sample. She titled the email "General Ballot," and attached was the sample ballot or the sample ballots.
So then she didn't give you any instruction or information related to this discussion?
She has discussed the importance of meeting the PAVA deadline, and that is only this. But I have no official communication, no official email, no official decision, nor have I seen the ESNS requires that the supervisor execute the ballot form, testing to how many ballots need to be ordered. I haven't seen an actual executed form, stating how many ballots will be issued and the timeline for the ordering of the ballots.
I object to the procedure being used. So we have 3 board members wish to address the chair, and we are asking the deputy supervisor to give what I consider to be third-hand information. I respectfully.
You said you give it third-hand information?
Well, she's saying what somebody else is saying.
Well, she
may I finish?
Sure.
I respectfully request that the chair recognize the members of this board so that we proceed with the agenda that you call the emergency meeting.
Well, we're going to do that, but I'm saying in the absence of Mrs. Fawkes, the supervisor election under original law, in the absence of the supervisor here, his or her deputy responds to question, and that's why I'm getting information from Mrs. Fawkes. From Mrs. Whitaker to tell us what she knows about what Mrs. Fawkes is not here and what Mrs. Fawkes passed on to her before she left. And I think it's appropriate that we get the information so we can know why the reason for Mrs. Fawkes is saying she have a meeting in St. Thomas, and we don't know what kind of meeting. There's no exigency in St. Thomas for Mrs. Fawkes to be there because it is St.Croix. You have a question, a controversy in the courts, whether it is the district court, the Supreme Court, or even the Superior Court of the World. So I'm saying, Mr. Ross, let me finish. I'm going to let everybody say what I want to say, is that we need to ascertain why Mrs. Fawkes is not here since she worked for the board. If some of the members say she don't work for the board and she runs the board, I don't feel that way. But I know the statute says that the supervisor election, the deputy, and the administrative assistant work for the board. And if I am the chairman and I ask the supervisor to be here, I am not accepting of them to excuse that she have meetings in terms and the situation is here. So my position is, I'm letting everybody talk tonight if I want to. Well, if you don't want to, I will put it on the record. That's all I'm
going to put my objections on the record.
I'm going to let you do it, sir. But I'm saying to you, sir.
Yeah, but you need to give me time to do it.
I'm going to give you time when I finish. I'll give you time when I finish.
Not at midnight.
Well, Mr. Ross, with due respect to you, I am chairing the meeting. I'm putting on the record. I'm not denying nobody from speaking here. But I'm going to speak until I'm finished. Let everybody speak. You can't time me.
Well, you can't time me either. Okay. I object to again.
Well, Mr. Ross, could you have some honor
again for the supervisor, the deputy supervisor, speaking on behalf of the whereabouts of the supervisor.
The supervisor,
the supervisor has given you.
Do you have your code, sir?
The supervisor has given you a document that outlines the reason for her action, or absence, and either you accept it or don't accept it, but we need to move on.
We're going to move on. So do you have your code right there for the look at it and say who the supervisor works for? And look at it where it says the supervisor absent, he or she, the deputy represents the supervisor. So we must put on record why Mrs. Whitaker, because it's passing here.
She doesn't know.
If you don't want to hear it, then you could sit there and listen. But this lady have a right to speak to the supervisor.
No, she does not.
Mrs. Wood, speak up, please.
She does not.
That's
all you know?
That's all I know.
Okay, no. Let me ask you another question. Did you receive any documents at all from Mrs. Fawkes for the day?
For today,
Yeah.
I haven't received. I gave over there. I haven't received any documents. I
Well, this meeting no harm as long as anybody wanted to come and leave or stay, we'll keep a meeting.
It's a yes or no question.
But then let her speak for herself. You get a chance to speak for yourself, madam.
I didn't receive any
You didn't receive anything.
communication. No.
I understand also, Mr. Ross, and the members here, that Mrs. Fawkes decided on her own volition with the membership of the board to order 1,000 sample ballots. This board needs to approve those decisions for Mrs. Fawkes. This is not her military operation. This is a board that have an employee that was put to the board. I don't know why we need to have 1,000 sample ballots and we waited on the decision from the district court that is continuing for evidentiary hearing on the 26th of the 11th. So we have today, that'll be 49 days before the election. 49, and it was you who said not less than 15 days before the general election. Right into the EAT, you said 15 days. I reminded you, said not less than 15. So this is 49 days before the general election. There is no reason for this body or Mrs. Fawkes on her own position to order 1,000 absentee ballots without the board knowing what she's doing. That's what my position is. So again, we asked her again about the report she said she had to send to the U.S. Attorney McFarland, Department of Justice, and a report she had to send to the Attorney General for the consent decree. When I examined the document, that document that she sent to the Justice Department was not the appropriate document because it mentioned primary election as opposed to compliance for the general election. I don't know how many of you got it, but you see in the report, you have it?
The one she delivered at the last meeting.
The report that Mrs. Fawkes delivered on the guide that she needs to turn to the Department of Justice to the consent decree. You see that heading there in red and blue? You have that report?
I did not have, she handed reports to all of you. I didn't receive that report. But I helped her to adjust the report, but I don't have a copy.
And you didn't see what was the head primary?
I didn't read the primary.
Mr. Chairman.
You said primary, right?
Mr. Chairman.
I think primary you said.
I didn't see the document.
But if it didn't say primary,
Mr.
that's
Chairman,
right.
again, I object to this.
I know, I recognize the objection, but we need to get a record here, sir.
No, but the record, the purpose for this emergency
Yes, sir.
meeting, as I understand it, is to deal with these items on the
Mr.
agenda.
Williams asked the question, I only want to know why.
And
I'm explaining it.
you are basically inquiring of the deputy supervisor.
In the absence of the supervisor.
In the absence of the supervisor, what occurred between her and the supervisor.
We need to know that this is the board.
Well,
we must
but-
know what the employees do.
But that's not the agenda for this
But
meeting.
that is how Mr. Williams asked the purpose of the meeting and put it on the
The
record.
purpose of this meeting, as I understood it, is to do with two
I thought you said
items.
no, that's fine.
As I understood it, is to do with two items on the agenda. None of it has to do with whether or not the deputy supervisor and the supervisor exchanged documents.
The document we're speaking about is the ballot, you see on the page, sir? The ballot and the changes in the legal counsel. The board does not have a legal representation pursuant to the Virginia School. We have a
The
system.
board
of
has no
control.
legal activity before the courts.
Are you serious, Mr. Ross? You saw the complaint which said individually against Mrs. Fawkes and her capacity of supervisor election and the joint board. You were sitting
And the
right
joint
there.
board.
And the joint board includes some of us. And I'm saying to you, Mr. Ross, if it's against the joint board and we have received a subpoena, who is actually representing this body? If it's the joint board. Who was there from St. Thomas? I'm saying, Mr. Ross, the legal counsel cannot represent two parties in an adversarial setting saying the same thing. This is collateral
Are you
activity.
dealing with
That's
number B
right.
on the agenda?
You asked what's in the agenda. I'm telling you what's
Are
in
you
the
dealing with
agenda. And just cite, right?
I like to-
Ballot and apparent changes.
I'd like to move, if I may speak, I'd like to move that item number B on the agenda be tabled indefinitely.
Well, I have a recognition to make a motion. You have the recognition to make a motion, Mr. Ross. You know that. You know that, right? I say you need to be recognized to make
Which
a
to be
motion.
recognized by the chair.
Mrs. Whittaker, I need a document, no, from Mrs. Fawkes. Call her. She said her office is open.
Office is not open to me. It's not open.
Mr. Thurl, you didn't tell me this morning, or Mrs. Fawkes said,
Which to be recognized.
she said the office was open if you need to get in here for stuff.
Not from me, you hear that from me.
Well, anyway, what's
Mr. Chair, I wish to be recognized.
recognized from
For a motion,
Here's your motion.
motion As item number B in the agenda, we tabled indefinitely.
Second.
Move and second in discussion. I want to put my right objection. I want to make you understand, Mr. Rollins. You have the code, if you need to get it right now, read it. The original code under Title subsection 51 says that this board have the privilege and access to advice or representation from a legal counsel in the Attorney General Office of the Department of Justice. This board, you, me, and Mrs. Moorhead was in court sitting when Attorney Erika Scott and Mrs. Brooks, Jack Jacobs, was representing a poll, apparently saying she represented this board, a joint board, and she was also claiming to represent Mrs. Fox, our employee. And I'm sure that if we have any concern about who was the real representative, it's clear that you cannot have a collateral representation in any advisory position with the two attorneys on each side is saying the same thing, representing the same outcome. And that was happening right there in front of our eyes. Because I know that, but I saw what was going on there through the whole collaboration of Attorney Jacobs and Attorney.
Let me say something.
I'll let you speak first. Doing the same thing to represent the same cause. And if we don't have a legal counsel to represent this board, we are complaining that playing in the hands of the Attorney General, who's represented the governor's position, and the Attorney position who failed to represent us, Mr. Wayne.
But it was the supervisor's initial position to have Mrs. Hansen on the panel. That's the whole thing. So, when the Attorney General was supporting that position, she was actually supporting Mrs. Fawkes' position. That's how I understood it.
And did you?
I was there in court.
I know, but do you know anything that Mrs. Fox met with this board to tell this board what she was going to do? There was no meeting here that she could have told her. If she walks to the board under our supervision and direction, we must have known what she was going to court to do. And she never made that clear to me or anybody here that at any meeting, any notice, her position, in spite of what the Supreme Court said and the court ordered her to do, that she was going to court to say to hell what the court said, I am going to still represent what I feel is right for whatever it was. That's how it happened there.
That was her position.
Previous question. Roll call.
Roll call on item B, table indefinitely. Mr. Delbert, Amber, Brian.
No.
Mr. Roland Molinar. No. Mrs. Lisa Harris Moore.
Yes.
Mrs. Liliana Bellado, the O'Neill absent. Mr. Rupert W. Ross Jr.
Yeah.
Mr. Glenn Webster, yes. Mr. Raymond J. Williams. Yep. There I have 1, 2, 3, 4.
The motion is adopted to remove item D indefinitely from discussion. Therefore, that means that the majority of members that voted here feel that they don't need a legal representation in any action under the Gordon School. That's what the motion means.
No.
That's what you said.
That's not what anybody said.
I'm saying,
So
well,
no.
you don't want to.
No,
That's why
you presuming what you want to do.
Let me ask a question.
No, don't ask me no question. You don't
Let
presume
me ask a
for me.
question.
You want to place in my presumptions, but come on.
That's what here I'm saying. Mr. Williams,
Come on.
I'm asking you a simple question. If this item says decision for legal representation for the St.Croix District Board of Election and the Supervisor of Election, it's not clear that I am asking what is the board's position to have a legal representation for the board of Mrs. Fox. That's what the board is about. So does anyone of you feel that this board don't need legal position representation? Is that don't answer? I'm asking a question. Does any member of this board
Why we
feel
continue the
that
conversation?
No, I'm asking the question because the record is clear. If we voted to remove the discussion,
Well, the discussion is tabled. The work table means it's done.
For
it's
when?
dead. It's
Forever.
we need to move on.
Forever.
Well, that's your word again.
But it's tabled
The
forever.
conversation is supposed to be moving to the other item.
No, not at all.
Okay,
I'm
well,
saying I understand what it
so-
means. I
You're
understand
right.
that the motion to table the legal representation of the board and Mrs. Fox is moot. Now we don't want to have a representation. That's what it means.
To you.
It's clear.
To you.
To all of us.
No, to you.
No.
Do
But
not
to me,
speak
to
for
me,
me.
to me.
To you.
But tell me what I mean then.
No.
Okay,
No,
good.
I haven't
So we'll
talked
move
about
on.
Thank
The
you.
next issue and the apparent change in Ballot Supervisor, since she's not here, what I want to do.
Till you bring this agenda now.
Well, she's not here. She was ordered to be here. She's not here. She sent a letter to say that she have meetings. She don't tell us what meetings. Mr. Whittaker don't know what the meetings are, and apparently none of us know what the meetings are. So how are you going to address the ballot?
Okay, so
Motion, Mr. Ross.
I move that the ballot submitted by Supervisor Fawkes for printing be approved by this board.
second.
Objection. We put an objection with it. Where is the ballot? Who's seen it? Where is it? What does it look like? What the ballot look like? Mr. Ross, you forget so easy. We were just in the BIT the other day, excuse me, when the motion was laid to hold off, and delay the preparation of any change in the ballot until the court takes it. Remember that? You don't remember? By reminding you. Proceed. Translate how it
Proceed.
So then, if the court case is not finished yet, sir, how are you going to prove a document before a court case is finished and pretend that that's what you want to do? But nonetheless, by a vote for that's fine. But not unless, unless anybody can explain what the ballot looks like and why it is that way, then I could go ahead and do what I want to do. But the law requires, according to what Mrs. Fawkes told us, and what she told the judge, that the deadline for mailing all the ballot was in compliance for the military. The deadline for completing the ballot with ESNS was when? If you remember.
You testify.
Very my testimony, I'm asking you, you moving to approve a ballot. How are you going to approve a ballot that is not complete under your request until the court case is finished?
How do I prove it?
Yeah.
I vote in yes.
Yeah, well, that's fine with me. I just want you on the record, that's what you do now.
I will, when it's
I'm saying to you, sir. Hello, please, you can keep it in the back, please.
That's exactly what I'm about.
Well, if you're going to be talking to them already. So if I can't hold it back, then I'll have to leave outside. I'm saying, please, if the ballot that we have here have errors in it, and Mrs. Dodd Coverdale was here working on behalf of Mrs. Fawkes. Mrs. Fawkes never presented the ballot to us. She had it and was sole responsible to this board to supervise and determine what she's doing. She is not authorized to act on her own in preparation of ballot, and then just we sit here and approve what she did without doing it. But you made an even change to the ballot. Remember that? You said with party column, you wanted to include a section that says if a political party does not have sufficient numbers of candidates, you may write in, providing that you vote and then number. You remember that motion, Mr. Ross?
Yes,
You made
I
that,
did.
okay.
Yeah.
So that was changed. But in reality, Mrs. Fawkes told us that the deadline to get this ballot to the U.S. Attorney was the 10th. If she send it to the 10th, in compliance with consent decree, what is today? The 15th. Are we now given a new date for compliance or something? She said that.
Madam Chair, I'd like to correct the record. The meeting of the 10th was the meeting that she had with the U.S. Attorney and the Attorney General's office to give a status report on the process for the system compliant with UCAWA. It was not the date in which she had to submit the ballot to the printers.
UCAWA has to do with the ballot that they're going to use for UCAWA compliance. So if you vote for that ballot then, and she had to take it to the U.S. Attorney, McFarland, Washington, D.C. Department of Justice, and she had to meet with the Attorney General in the Virgin Islands, where is that ballot? It wasn't then. She didn't have that ballot then. The ballot that we had there at the there was the ballot that was before the changes were made when that covered the came in last week. So we thought, which ballot you speaking about? The one that we approved with BIT, was that the same ballot you approved?
No, that's not.
So what we did with that ballot?
That's not my motion.
Who made that motion? You recall making that motion? This lady right here.
I am talking about the ballot.
I understand this what you're speaking about. So you know approving two sets of ballots. That's
No,
what
I'm not.
No.
Well, you made one last week. Mrs. Moorhead moved that we approve it, and you said you want to postpone the action in it until the court case is finished. So then you approve one, without a change, and you approve another one in a change. So you have two with changes.
That's not his present motion.
I understand his present motion.
Okay, good. Move the previous question.
Well, you said that's right. Don't ask Mr. Wilson, hold on a minute, please. Don't let me run you no rush it. She don't run this meeting. I'm saying to you.
You want to move the previous
I
question?
understand that.
Then we have to vote.
You can keep playing with your any money. I'm saying to you.
And
The previous question,
that's
the
a
question
vote.
will be called. You made a motion to BIT that we accept the ballot that we had there. So that was approved. Mr. Ross made a motion to postpone anything further until the court case is finished. Now he's another motion. I'm simply asking, now we have it two ballots by the board approval. The one from last week, you shake your head, and you have one today. So go ahead and call the roll.
Well, you call the roll. Call the roll. Your record is wrong, but call the roll.
You can try you do your praise better than anybody. It's from here. That's the problem.
Call the roll.
Go out to the court today. Read it for them on Sunday.
Mr. Delbert and for Brian.
No?
Mr. Roland Molinar.
Oh.
Mr. Lisa Harris Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Juliana Milano, they need absent. Mr. Rupert W. Ross Jr.
Yep.
Mr. Glenn Webster, yes. Mr. Raymond Williams.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, please. If anybody not there, then you have to leave out here, please. I really don't go with it. So if you can phone and do, outside. The next night I hear, we just do have to leave. So William see you don't want instruction and I don't want none either. Finish? Finish the roll call?
Yeah. Yes. 4 years, 2 no's, and 1 against.
Okay. The record needs to reflect that we have two sets of ballots with approved, one at the BIT and another one today. So
That's not the record.
that's the record. Because this is a transcript.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
but that's
your
your
record.
record. And it's
That ain't my
not-
record,
Yes, it is.
but the transcript will speak for itself. Is over there.
I'm not disputing it.
Okay, because
I'm just simply saying that is your.
the record is what we have here.
Okay.
The motion was made to postpone an action for the ballot to be shipped out, to be met until the court case is finished. Mrs. Mohed made the motion to approve the present ballot before us. That was different than what we have from Mrs. Fox, which she allowed
And that
to
was
cover
not my
the,
motion.
to include
That was
other
not my
things.
motion. My motion was to deal with the territorial issues on the ballot because we were meeting as a joint board and we couldn't deal with the district issues at that point.
The district-
That was my
Our
motion.
district is a different district.
It
Each
was
district has their own
my
ballot.
motion. Don't tell me what my motion
I know what it was. I don't remember why I said it here. So I ain't hard to remember. The motion was that. So therefore, we have two ballots in the bill two. What we have a discussion, Mr. Ross, how many absentee, not absentee, sample ballots I believe we should have?
That's not on the agenda for this.
When we talking discussion on ballot, this is the ballot, this was ballot discussion, we talking
Mr.
about.
Chairman, I have no other comments at this time.
Well, good.
The agenda has been accomplished.
Well, the
based on
agenda in your
call.
mind has been accomplished, but
And
Mr.
if
Ross.
a motion,
You have a responsibility to recognize that Mrs. Fox said she's ordering
I-
$1,000.
I have-
Are we in agreement that she ordered $1,000?
I have no idea.
motion,
Are we in agreement with $1,000?
motion,
Motion, Mr. Ross.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, no problem. Well, what is the motion adjourned? I need to address it clearly that it's going to run into some problems what we're doing here today. Whether it means politically popular, we need to believe because we hear of a problem that the fever food created. And the record speaks from 2009 to now. They had done the right thing before I got here, we've never been here today. So that's what we need today for. If you want to continue in the same direction.
Motion adjourn is not
Will you
debatable.
go get up and leave by talking?
The motion to adjourn is not debatable.
I hear your motion, but I'm saying I could talk. The motion that why could talk, people get up and leave if you want to.
Yeah, but there's a motion before the board. You gotta
There's a motion before the board. I wait. If I leave before the board, I'll get down the meeting.
I'm saying that you need to recognize.
I recognize the motion.
Okay.
If I leave before the board, I'll start the meeting adjourned.
So the motion is to adjourn,
I
right?
hear that, but until the roll is called, the motion.
So what's the role of my
I'm
comment?
speaking.
Previous question.
I'm speaking. I have a right to speak up here with the chair. So I'm
No,
saying.
I am quarreling with it. The motion to adjourn is not available.
Who said that? Well, have a roll call. They need a roll call.
That's correct.
And
if we say no, then the debate continues. If we say yes,
You can say no, you can say yes when the roll is called, not when you want it called. I'm not calling a roll call because you guys need to correct the situation. You're creating a problem. What your agenda is ridiculous. If you don't want the legal counsel to represent who?
you're not recognizing the motion to refuse.
You don't make the motion already. I hear you.
But you're not recognizing it.
I didn't say the recognition. I'm speaking on your motion, objection to your motion.
It's not available.
I'm speaking on the motion. You call it debatable, not like I'm talking. I'm saying this
And
already.
you're not recognizing the motion I wish to leave.
Well, you could get this for one. When the roll call is you here, upset you know that.
No.
Well, we could do what you want, get it on what you want. The motion, the ruling call it. I'm saying this corruptive state of operation will stop sometime somewhere. This is basically what you're
But this is not how you do it.
But this is how to do it because I am playing games.
Why is it that somebody has playing game
Because we know we have to it's a law way. It's a law way, not my way. It's a way of the law. I'm saying, sir.
But
The motion made is recognized.
motion was called.
John, the mission, but it's without the roll call, I can't leave it.
I mean, we can't leave
Well,
it.
then let's see what happens.
No, but you know you're talking about people playing game. But you know you're talking about people playing game.
It's a joke.
No, but you're keeping us in jail.
It's not a joke. I'm showing you. I am parliamentary to see the joking.
What? Wait. How are you joking? No, seriously. How did
So that's
you
the song, huh?
No, but you're suggesting that if you don't call a rule.
I don't call it. It's not call it.
But we
Move
joking.
the previous question,
For the last time.
roll call.
No.
The rule on one and all. These hours more.
Yes.
I'll not put prostate or nothing.
There you go.
Absent. W. Ross, absent. North no. Raymond J. Williams.
Yes.
Meeting in a joke. We'll continue. I can't start.
But you would have to do.
Okay. So then we'll continue the meeting.
I don't know how to do it.
Well, I forget to believe you know. What I want,
I want on the record that the court ordered the supervisor of the election to change the ballot, and she did that on Friday that's what she was supposed to do because the court ordered the supervisor. She didn't order the court, they ordered the supervisor to do it, and she do what she was supposed to do.
you listen to the
So
commission.
I uphold what the supervisor did.
I'm sorry to you listen.
Otherwise, she would have been contempt of it.
You have a temporary restraining order and a court order to the final. I ain't arguing what you say. I'm saying
Like
the
Coach
district.
stayed on during a
Oh,
temporary
you said,
restraining
tell me you
order.
finish over. Please move up behind me, man. I'm saying,
Say that, no, you have to move out there.
but we stand up behind me.
If I want to.
We stand up on the table.
Just like I wanted to say, and you, we are joking, I'm joking.
But why you doing that? I didn't come to my
Because
hand.
my leg hurts and I'm
You let her,
choosing to
well, you
stand
walk
up.
home. If you let her, you go sit down.
No, I don't have to do anything.
But then why you standing in front of my feet?
Because you are misrepresenting the record.
No, you misrepresenting.
No, I'm not, because you haven't even let me talk to know
We
what I'm
just
saying.
move the
When
question
Coach
she
said-
can.
Yes, and you, when you move the question, you're supposed to take a vote.
I
It
can
took you
start,
20
I must
minutes,
call
so you
room
can
call
vote
from the
whenever you
chair.
want.
The chair calls room call.
I
When
thought
you
you just said he calls roll call.
I said roll call. He
When
called roll.
Kohfeldt and Cannigator, when there was a
What
temporary
Kohfeldt got to do
restraining
with
order, everything.
But
They
this is
had
not
to
a case
stay
of
on the
Kohfeldt.
ballot. They had to stay on the ballot. When there's a temporary
You
restraining order, they
understand what I'm
stay on
trying to
the
get
ballot.
you. I'm saying to you, let's go ahead. If you have a court, they have two board orders. Where is the representation from the board to represent the board of Mrs. Fawkes? Which court order is she supposed to follow? Who's interpreting anything for Mrs. Fawkes? You allow the Attorney General, who wrote an opinion for the governor to claim he justified Alicia Hansen to be on the ballot without the representation of the board. That's all I'm telling you. The board had no representation. That was a collusive representation that is disgraceful to the justice system when a judge will sit on a bench and two attorneys in opposing side in the same case. That was the issue. And that's what the Supreme Court shrugged down the foolishness what they had to do. They can't ask for a rehearing, and that's what the Supreme Court struck down the rehearing. So what are you going to do without the legal counsel? You're going to go back to the road and let these two people sit down there and smile with the road and let the employee of our board sit down there, pollute with them. That's what happened. That's all it is. But Mr. Ross said one people code and so maybe forget what the last said. That's all it is. This means that Jewish doctor, you realize how my license could be jeopardized for they ain't polluted with that. I ain't watching why you doing. I don't think I tell with that. Me nothing a joke. Because in the end I get what I have because I know from this November 7, 2011, Rupert Ross, Carly back, I could show you the election system that I had that he used with John Nicholson right to ask Mr. Fraser what is the requirement for Alicia Hansen. You know what Fraser wrote him back and tell him on December 19, 2011 that the supervisor election did not qualify or vet Alicia Hansen to be even eligible. When Alicia Hansen was in the legislature, she was on probation, nobody on probation, can't even vote most of the time. It's already in the code, Mr. Ross, know that. This lady know that. Nobody on probation, don't be an eligible voter, much less be in the Senate. Read the code and vote right that. If we're going to be fair, do right, follow the law. The reason why they're running from here is because they get caught up in the pollution with the code. That's all it is. They allowed Alicia Wells to be at the ballot when she was on probation. Look for the letter that can't go on from that.
That was Hansen.
Whoever they call them, same thing. But I'm saying, that's the whole damn confusion. And I've seen it and it's there. They can't run from it. How you going to have two ballots to be approved? They approve one just there, little BIT.
We have one bar, we just approved this one. That's the one bar.
Well, we could do that.
We got one bar.
The record is, eh? Yes, sir.
When you finish, I'd like to move on to the 15 minutes.
Well, no problem. Sure, no problem. Well, I know
You got to say it.
I know it's material left without me taking it, but it's still out. But nonetheless, Mrs. Fox is the employee here, she's not the board of it. When John was here with Tadman, they run the board. This board, and the chairmanship is not run by the supervisor election. And the way she also respect to tell us why she ain't here. I understand she does a meeting doesn't do. So the meeting done, according to them, the quorum is broken, you'll have vote to adjourn the meeting, because the meeting is not adjourned. It's a right to a car. When the road is being cut, he couldn't appear to make no vote. And he couldn't go and finish it. He didn't have jet plane. So the plan again the one. Before I finish, I would like to allow individuals to ask questions. Let me ask a question. We didn't left there. You can try to see that. But that's if they need discussion in the agenda here, Mr. Webster. Mr. Moore. No, say the answer.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, Mr. Excuse me, young man. You ready for the ISOs?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to make it very clear to my life. If you're going to write something about one brand, tell the truth. You've never heard anybody in here discuss taking Mr. Ross off the ballot. And you know that full well. I started in the ISOs article. I could read, but I don't be wrong. I don't know
what
what
article you're taking Mr. Ross off of. What?
in the paper, the VI source on his website.
Yes,
There's a discussion there that Mr. Ross' name was taken off the ballot by a foreigner because board brand he has on few. That is incorrect and malicious and willful
Oh, yeah, I reported that at the last meeting.
You
were
reported
about
that.
I may have misunderstood. But
You understand you want to understand. See, you guys
we were joking about that.
you guys in the media write a lot of lies. Nobody here discussed Mr. Ross. We discussed Jamila Russell, whose name was left out, but the same as the facts who I said the correct with ballot.
So it was Jamila Russell, not Mr.
Oh, well, the
Ross.
way right about Brian and
Because
Mr.
you said-
Russell.
Well, then I made a mistake as far as saying.
That's all right. A lot of people get up by mistake, and I'm sure a lot of people get killed by mistake.
So to be clear, it's Jamila Russell, not
Jamila Russell.
You know what
I will
Jamila
make that correction.
The article still included Jamila Russell, who was number 17, but I'm saying to you, sir, your type of journalism is dangerous because you misrepresented what happened here. If you can't write where you remember, don't include these lies and say that I had a discussion in removing Mr. Ross. Mr. Ross' name was never mentioned.
It was Jamila Russell, not Rupert Ross.
Oh, you remember now?
No, I'm going by what you're telling me. That it
No,
was Jamila Russell,
they could
not
tell you,
Rupert
they
Ross.
could tell you because we were here. Nobody mentioned Mr. Ross. As a matter of fact, The same persons who prepared the ballot and left off Jamila Russell, number 17 off the ballot, was the same as Mrs. Fawkes. She prepared a ballot with Dr. Coverdale. This young man here, I found out the day when I came here when they had the ballot that number 17 was missing. I didn't even know who was number 17. I went to Mr. Terrell to ask him whose name is number 17, and he said Jamila Russell.
I apologize for the
No, don't apologize for the write the article in the source. Write it in the source and tell you lied and misrepresent the truth. Don't apologize to me. I don't want anybody to apologize to me.
Jamila Russell, correct?
Always read again right
Jamila
now.
Russell, not Rupert Ross. I will
Yeah,
make the
so
change.
don't play me like that.
Anytime you see any error, and if anyone sees any error in the source, please email
That's
me
not the
at
error. That was a willful and malicious
billcoster@gmail.com, and I will
representation.
make the
You
change,
try to play the
as I
game.
always have.
You see guys like Randall Hirsch, the cars, all those articles in the water. That's what you're heading to. You know Randall Hirsch? The car in the
The
cheap.
late 19th century.
Yeah, he's Patty Hirsch's grandfather.
Let's go in that touch with it.
You know, they go off again. But move for the electricity. The dog don't stay for a grand at all. So, don't be trying to do right here. I see us about, don't turn on the, you turn it off again, I come in there. And we see what will happen. Turn it off and see what happens. Don't turn on the light in here.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay? Yes, Mr. Muller.
please, let's move to the 15 minutes.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions or concern?
I know. Today you all made a decision on voting on a ballot. I didn't see nobody had a ballot in front of them. In 2012, the ballot that came out as a sample, was that the same thing that we voted on and caused a lot of confusion? Are we going back to that same thing again in 2014?
That's what Mr. Ross and Mr. Muller want.
So do we know which ballot it is they have approved or disapproved today?
Well, I have ballots that they had, and that's not the ballot.
And I know they had 2 ballots.
Well, I know that too, so that's how we don't like to run it. It's a majority rule, the majority will be right all the time.
That's what I, boy, wow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, with Rupert Ross, Lisa, and Raymond Williams, you know where they walk out? Because there is the cause of this problem.
Nobody don't recognize it.
There is the cause of this problem. If it wasn't for them and Johnny Brunson, you wouldn't have this problem. So that's why they walk out, they're covering their butt. They're covering their butt, so they want to continue the same saga. But they don't know that it can't happen again.
Well,
They're covering their butt.
The whole issue goes back to Mr. Abramson. But the media have a tendency to make it about a chocolate thing, and those people who follow that, they go along with that. Simply put, Alicia Hansen had one case in 2004 with 12 or 15 count indictments. 3 people went to jail. Ashley Angie, Mr. Malone, and Lane Harris. Her husband was charged and that was in 2004. Go to the district court. These people who talking need to go to the district court and read the record. Wire fraud, forgery, and all of that. In 2009 again, contrary to what the governor wrote in his pardon, he lied again, and that's not unusual for governor to lie who he is. Alicia Hansen never pled guilty in 2009. She pled not guilty and was found guilty. The record's right there. It's there, go to read it. Again, we come back again, she was put on sentence of 3 years and placed on probation for those 3 years. Probation means, because you have to pay, you know what probation means? When they couldn't vote, when they want probation, and couldn't be elected. Probation simply means, if you violate any of the conditions of probation, you can serve the time and you're sentenced to in jail. That's what probation means. Mrs. Hansen could not leave the boys, not even to go to Buck Island on a boat. The court had to let her go off the island to St. Thomas. When she went to Miami, when she went to New York, all those records are right. Don't read them, don't write those records. The documents speak for themselves. In 1996, again, after Hurricane Marilyn, FEMA came here and distributed food. Remember that? And after that happened, Mr. Borey and Mr. Bravo was inquiring about the government purchase order for $883,000. You know who prepared the document and brought it? Same Alicia Hansen. 48,000 pounds of chicken leg and chicken wing. Along with spaghetti and meatballs, I laugh. And all those things. Come back again. In 2002 or 2003 again, she tried to get sick leave and annual leave paid. No senator approved those things. He took the authority from the legal counsel office to write and deny that payment. Again, the governor said she graduated. I forget, check, she's going to have 2 college degrees, a master's and a bachelor's degree. Those are fraudulent claims where they paid $700 something a degree. So why did he put in a part she went to high school for record? He should have read consider what she was saying about everything. See, I'm saying these things going on, I think we're sitting here as adults. I want to see what sort of jurors sitting in here whose son or daughter is on a jury trial for bank robbery. Can get them. And the governor and these people here sitting condoning a robbery with a piece of paper. The people that you claim to represent is being robbed right in front of your face with a piece of paper and a vote. The Judge Savage wrote, citizens pay good roads, hospitals, schools, and all those things. He said you're not only stealing from the government, you're stealing from the very citizens who you try to represent. Read the court cases, they're right there looking for it. But I always sit there with Paul Brian and my son. I know that can't really mess someone on me. But that's a game. Diversion. That game don't frighten me. You got people making like looking past a driver's license test past 35 and they drive up along the street. You got the next one can read like a black Ku-Klux Klan grabbing people please. I'm saying what is the difference between I going to the bank, writing a note and tell her give me all the money in cash and they give me $20,000 and I go and say strap this man $200 chain off and that's armed robbery. That's a paper robbery take place in the bank. But outside armed robbery, I can't see what they're doing here. Which jury is going to convict anybody for that again? We'll have a governor and 3 members of the board who've been here that created this very problem and trying to pass out the board. They can't win that. You can't beat me in the paper, or in the media talking in the radio. But it speaks for itself, the kind of character of people. You got a man who calls himself a principal, administrator, a president convention sitting in a line. Read the letter, look for the letter, give the all I go on. I don't understand why you run out there, the little black boy driving a car. Because when the police picked up his day going to jail. Ask Leroy when I told him why she didn't represent.